Thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup with me, Niraj Shah. And did you know that the S&P Global, which is the rating agency, has said that India is set to become the third largest economy by 2030-31. Not that we needed this, but all of these rating agencies saying this, talking about the market cap, talking about India's ascent on the MSCI EM index and all of that. Not that rating agencies do that, but all global agencies talking about it only increases the heft of India on the global stage, and the propensity for global funds to put money into India as well goes up. Large, stable economy. So all of this helps. Anyways, that's the did you know for the day. Now, the US markets and a day of bounce really are a big rub of green, even though the futures are flattish. But look at the NASDAQ, 2.5% higher. Dow Jones about 1.26% higher. Above 42,000 for the first time ever. And Asia, I think, has a rub of green as well. So you largely see green. Nikkei, Hang Seng, all of them showing that tick of green on the screen today. So good chain. Remember, it's the BOJ decision today as well. So, but ahead of the BOJ decision, the Japanese markets are up. So Dow futures are little change, but the important part is this: it closed above 42,000 for the first time ever. Asia rally is set to extend, as I showed you already. The yen has dipped before the BOJ decision, so that's interesting. BOJ is widely expected to hold rates in the key meeting today. And crude has risen after the Israel-Hezbollah tensions have escalated. In various separate press briefings, the Lebanese leaders have said that the next 48 hours could be days or hours of potential escalation. Now, that is something to be watched out for. I mean, it's straight out of a movie, really, what's happened in the last 48 hours in terms of attacks or in terms of the explosions that have happened. Now, no side has claimed responsibility, so I'll not veer into the politics of it. All I'm saying is that the Lebanese leaders have said that there could be an escalation, and that will have an impact on crude for sure. So that's something you got to keep an eye out for. The GIFT Nifty indicates a start which is mildly in the green. Now, what's the trade setup for the day? Yesterday, you could argue that large caps only saw profit booking, but the SMID performance was certainly disappointing, and be interesting to see if there could be a bounce that could be sustainable, because there were sharp cracks yesterday. Usually 2-3% cracks get bought into. Portfolios don't hurt so much. Yesterday, I'm sure portfolios got hurt meaningfully because there's some sharp cracks in a lot of stocks in trade yesterday, which is a bit of a disappointment. Corrective moves in overstretched names may not be over as yet. Why do I say this? Because if you look at a chart that Motilal Oswal shared yesterday, we may not be able to show the chart, but hear me out in any which ways. They're saying that things have cooled off a bit in defense and railways. The aggregate market caps, maybe we can show the charts of a couple of stocks, like let's say HAL, for example, or Titagar Wagons, for example, the last this year's chart or thereabouts, because the aggregate market caps for some of these stocks are down 22 and 23% since this was highlighted in July. Look at this. This year, this is HAL, and from July, the aggregate market caps are down about 22 or 23%, but valuations are still stretched because the defense trailing PE is down from 63 to 49. Railways from 54 to 43. So trailing Ps may not be the best way to look at it, but they look very expensive, and therefore some of these corrective moves, who knows, might not be over. This is a very sharp move, corrective move in Titagar as well, right? From 1859 or thereabouts, which is the high, to currently about 1252. So that's the problem for the markets, that some of these corrective moves might not be over in some of the expensive names. I'll tell you where money is flowing though. It's not just Bajaj Housing Finance. Look at the subscription numbers for the IPOs yesterday. Western Carriers 30 times, Arcade Developers 106 times, Northern Arc 110 times. So IPOs are getting heavily subscribed. Okay, what are the stocks to watch in the session today? It's not a very long list from my end today. I may have missed a few stocks as well, by the way, but these are the ones that I think had the highest probability of a reaction. So IIFL Finance had a slam dunk yesterday as well because of this rating agency, and it was in fact an NDTV Profit exclusive as well, that there was a possibility that the ban may actually lead to them firing some of the employees as well. But on cue, RBI has lifted restrictions imposed on gold loan business for IIFL Finance. Remember, it was prohibited from gold loans on March 4th. That reverses. I think the stock reacts a bit positively today. So watch out for this one. ITD Cementation, as per a story on the Economic Times, Adani Group is set to acquire 46.64% stake. for 5,888 crores. Now remember, viewers, we do not have independent confirmation of the same. The NDTV belongs to the Adani Group, so we have not asked for any confirmation per se or gotten any confirmation thus far. But if this story is to be believed, there could be a bit of a reaction on ITD cementation, so watch out for this one. The story is important from ITD cementation stocks perspective, so bear that in mind. IDFC First Bank or IDFC Bank has received the RBI approval for reappointment of V. Vaidyanathan as MD and CEO for 3 years, and this should be a shot in the arm for this one too. Watch out for that. Balkrishna Industries has commissioned a 30,000 MTPA plant of high value advanced carbon material plant. Because this has been commissioned, it could be construed positively because the company could start getting revenues from this as well. Could be very interesting to see if there's a further reaction on Balkrishna Industries in the session today. In a wobbly market, this one stood out yesterday as one stock that held out. So watch out for this one too in the session. Now, the fifth one, I'll take a moment to just kind of explain. It's a city note on Zydus as well as Lupin. Now, what does the note say? The note says that the US appeals has vacated a district court judgment on generic Mirbetriq. Now, why is this important, viewers? Both of these companies had launched the generic version of Mirbetriq in US in April 24 at risk. What does at risk mean? That they are launching it. If the ruling is against them, then they might have to stop, go back. I don't know if penalties are involved. I guess not. But the whole momentum goes away. So now that is the broader definition or understanding of an at-risk launch. Now, Mirbetriq contributed meaningfully in Q1 numbers for both the companies. Now, as per Citi, Mirbetriq contributed about $40 to $50 million of sales and 15% plus of EBITDA in Q1 for Zydus. And consensus estimates pencil in about $120 million of sales and $40 million of sales for Zydus in FY25 and 26 consensus estimates. So it did very well in Q1 for Zydus, and the estimates are fairly steep as well. For Lupin as well, it likely contributed, Citi says, 7 to 10% of EBITDA and about $15 million worth of sales in Q1. And the consensus, according to Citi, is building in approximately $70 million and $30 million of sales from this product in FY25 and 26. So you can see that there was meaningful contribution from Mirbetriq in Q1 itself. Now, if indeed the innovator company brings about a stop, adjuncts this, goes to the court and says, hey, this can't happen, then it's a problem for the future sales for this year and FY26 for both Lupin and Zydus. You might see a bit of a corrective move in both of these. I hope I have been able to explain this correctly. Very lastly, watch out for Mankind Pharma. Investec has a note there. They have initiated with a buy, a target price of 3,300, which is about a 37% upside. They believe that BSV could scale new highs and could generate $1 billion of sales and 35% of EBITDA margin by FY32. This is 1,000 basis points improvement, by the way, in EBITDA margin. So that's in EBITDA. So that's quite stunning, really, what Investec believes can happen for Mankind's BSV. And they forecast overall for Mankind 18% EBITDA CAGR over FY24 to 27. So this is the reason why they are constructive on Mankind. After the acquisition, there's been a bit of a pullback. Let's see if Mankind can reverse some of these as well. 37% upside according to Investec. Remember, Vodafone, Indus, Bharti and all of those also remain in focus. So clutch of stocks to focus on as the week draws to a close, but expect a bit of an uptick in the session today. Thanks so much for tuning into the Trade Setup.